Well, here we are again. Welcome to Spooky Lee's Historic Dartmoor. Today we're going to be focusing mostly on the Yelverton area, an area that's rich in industrial and other sorts of archaeology. As ever, the Dartmoor weather isn't being too kind, but I'm sure that today we'll be having another exciting episode.
Spooky, 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 historic Dartmoor.
The places he goes, the things that he knows, he'll curl up your toes. He's spooky Lee. The places he goes, the things that he knows, he'll curl up your toes. He's spooky Lee. The places he goes, the things that he knows, he'll curl up your toes. He's spooky Lee. He's spooky Lee. He's spooky Lee.
Historic Dartmoor.
So Lee, explain about this sleep then.
Yes, here we have Plymouth Leet, also known as Drake's Leet. Shall we have a look?
Yes. So tell us, Lee, why is this sleep so special then?
Well, this leet here is very special. A leet is something, it's effectively a channel that's dug into the ground and then reinforced, which takes water from one place to another. And this one used to supply water to Plymouth for over 300 years.
So why is it called Drake's Leet then? Is there any reason why it's called this then?
That's a very good question. Yes, it's also known as Drake's Leet because Sir Francis Drake, who we know and love so well, was on the committee that decided to build this particular leet. And this one here used to bring water from the River Meavy up that way, down this way, many miles into Plymouth.
So when was it disconnected? When did they stop using it and that?
Well, it was in 1898. As I say, for over 300 years it was taking water, and it was an extraordinary piece of innovation, really. Some people call this the finest Tudor piece of workmanship. It doesn't look a great deal, but when you think that it used to take water by gravity 17 miles, so it was continuously on a slope. Now somewhere like Dartmoor that's very difficult because there's so many ups and downs. They had to build something that would very gradually take water, obviously not too quickly but not too slowly. They would have to bend around certain hills and tors, and for 17 miles that really is very clever.
Yeah, did in the medieval times did they use the leet, or was it just built in Francis Drake's time? Or
Yes, it came a little bit after the medieval time. Yes, it was 1591 when it was opened.
so no wizards, elves, leprechauns would use the leet then, no?
Well, there's probably many stories about this being used. I think anything involving flowing water would be used as a focal point for folklore.
So this water, where did it lead to? Which reservoir did it lead to then?
Well, a reservoir up that way. Here, at Dartmoor Reservoir. A very pleasant place which is often used by families for recreation. You can't swim or have water sports here, but it's certainly a very nice place to come for a day out. It contains approximately 1,026 million gallons of water. It's quite a large reservoir.
Okay, Lee, where are we off to now then?
We're now off to the Plym Valley line.
Oh, there is one question I need to ask about, Lee. Sorry, viewers, before we go. Do you think there was ever mermaids here?
Well, there were many tales of mermaids in the southwest, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was one for here, even though it's a reservoir.
Okay, sorry about that. Right, where are we off to now then, Lee?
Now off to the Plym Valley line, which is in this direction here.
Okay, let's go. that's where Charlotte lives, and that's Shaw Prior.
See the girl you love for us?
Yeah. Well, we won't go into that. Apparently, she fell down a well.
Oh dear, to her death.
Yeah, did to her death then. Which had two little pigs by it. And they say in the tunnel, like a tunnel thing. Yeah.
Focus.
Frog spawn. I've got fish in the home, and we'll get some frogs. I won't put them in the fish pond because if you know that, viewers, the fish will eat the frog spawn. But I've got like a little corner off thing where I can put the frog spawn in. But I think it's a bit too late to get frog spawn.
Don't you think cats will eat the frog spawn?
I don't think so. But well, that was up. I don't know what that noise was then.
Sounded like a train, didn't it? A steam train. Ah, more likely a driver who's nearly run somebody over.
So Lee, can you tell us where we are now?
Well, this looks like any old cycle track, but in fact, this is the site of an old railway. And I think it's something of interest for this series. Shall we check it out?
Yes, we shall, Lee. So Lee, can you tell me how old this building is, or this tunnel?
Ah, well, this is many years old. This is the railway line that used to take people from Mill Bay in Plymouth all the way up to Tavistock and beyond.
Where do these lines go then? Where do they exactly end and all like that?
Well, it started from Plymouth
Yeah.
and went through Bickley and Clearbrook and Yelverton and then up to Tavistock South Station
Yeah.
and then on to Lidford and Launceston.
So do you know why they closed it off then? Why they?
Well, in 1962, this line was shut down. It had certainly been serving the community and businesses very well, because this particular section was opened in 1862.
So also, Lee, would the Romans use this building or before and that?
Well, along here, this would have been farmland,
Oh, would it?
surrounded by rivers, yes, back in the Roman time.
What about the medieval times and that? Would it still be farmland?
Yes, very much so, in medieval times. As you can see now, it's quite a popular route for cyclists and walkers.
So, also, Lee, is it haunted as well?
I have heard a couple of stories about hauntings along here, and I remember a couple of years ago going onto YouTube and having a look at images that were recorded here, images of a white apparition and of screams. But of course, anywhere like this that's so atmospheric, there's always going to be tales attached to it.
So is there any more haunted stuff about it or no?
No, only really stories. I think there's been a couple of investigations here. But I think one of the main reasons for this being on Historic Dartmoor, on this series, is that people don't realise just the number of railway lines and stations there were in this area, because this wasn't the only one.
So was this just like a long tunnel for trains and that, was it?
That's right, yes. This was cutting underground. Yeah, so it was a tunnel. And
When was it actually first, up and running?
well, the line between here and Tavistock was created in 1862, and then Tavistock to Launceston in 1865. And I've already mentioned that in 1962 they closed it, but they did keep a little part of the line open, which is now available for tourists to use, and that line would be down by Marsh Mills. As well as here, there is another line that's again now used more for tourists and more for recreation, and that one went from Plymouth to Devonport and then up by St Budo and across Beerferrers, Tavistock North train station, and then up to Lidford and on to London.
So would they ever open this again, or will they just leave it as a cycle path, or?
Well, yes, I think they're going to leave this as a cycle path for the while. There's always been lots of talk about opening up the other line, so who knows, maybe in a few years' time you'll be able to get the train from Plymouth to Tavy, up to Tavistock, and they've been saying this for many years, but we're hoping that it might come into fruition fairly soon.
Do you think it'd be more expensive as well?
Well, no doubt, yes, they'll have to pay for it, won't they? So I'm sure they'll have fairly high charges.
It looks like we're coming to the other end now.
Yes, it's a very nice walk, and as I say, it's amazing that we haven't been passed by any people on foot or by bike, because this is a very popular route used by people these days.
Well, thanks for that, Lee.
That's okay. Yes, it's certainly a very interesting walk, isn't it? And here we emerge out of the tunnel, and in that direction, roughly 6 miles, is Plymouth.
What about this bit then? What was this bit used for then, Lee?
This here was used for various transit of goods. Yeah, some very good architecture here.
Well then, Lee, should we move on to the next place then? Which
Yes, let's move on to the next place. Where we're going now is very different. We are now going to Ditsworthy Warren. And it involves going back that way again.
Let's go then.
Can you see any spawn?
Frog spawn still. Black dots in it, is it?
Oh yeah, black dots.
Any of this?
No, we might have missed the season, like Spooky Lee was saying.
Now, this footpath that we're on here, presumably this is it. It's not very well marked out, but it should take us to where we're going. That's not a house, is it? Up there to the right of the big mound. Or am I seeing things?
Could be. Should we have a look?
Let's have a look.
What, the big round thing there?
Yeah.
Could be, that could be a house actually.
It's nice and desolate here, isn't it?
Where this house could be, Lee.
Still thinking it's that thing up there, or does it not look like a house? Is it more rock?
That looks like a house to me. Dead cow there. Look. What is it? Calf. Is it? Oh, baby cow.
Yeah.
How did that happen then, do you wonder?
Don't know. Maybe it was the beast.
Could have been, yeah.
Have a look.
No, you're right. I'll stay this far from it.
I'll ask if Lee wants to have a look.
Do you want to have a look, Lee?
Well, we can inspect a bit closer. Death through the cold would be my guess. And then, as we can see, the carrions had a bit of a go at it. Balmy days on Dartmoor.
I'm looking for a house for Chris.
It's called a Warren thing.
This is a Van Halen moment. No, it definitely has to be somewhere around here. It might be that it's around the corner. When you look at these maps, you think it's not far, but
Watch Chris.
Yeah. Oh, he's over here. Found it?
yeah.
Found it, John. Lee, just tell us where we are now.
Well, we are now at Ditsworthy Warren House, which is an old, as you can see, an old farmhouse dating back a few centuries, maybe 300-400 years, and this was the site of the where the Warreners used to live.
What is a warren?
Well, many years ago, rabbits were bred for their meat and their fur, and so warrens were established to control these animals and to keep them safe and alive, and so when the time came, they could kill the rabbits.
Where were the rabbits kept then? Whereabout? You know, in this building where they're kept.
Well, the rabbits were kept in pillow mounds, and in a few minutes we'll go and have a look at these mounds. For the time being, shall we have a look around the grounds?
Yeah, sure.
It's haunted, doesn't it? If ever a building looked haunted.
Spookily, 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 historic Dartmoor. Historic Dartmoor.
So, Lee, can you explain what this is then? Is this one of the pillow mounds?
This isn't a pillow mound here, this is a dog kennel. And as we can see, this is where the hinges were to hold the door. And dogs were quite often used by warreners. They were used to move the rabbits in a certain direction so that then the rabbits could be caught in big nets. So that's why they had dog kennels here.
Can you just explain one question? And why is it deserted nowadays then?
Well, the need for rabbit meat and for its use as fur did wane over the centuries, and rabbit farming was banned in the 1950s. I think it's fair to say, though, that building up to that, the interest, the demand for rabbits to be farmed was distinctly on the wane anyway. So now we have this quite picturesque, very idyllic place that's now used by sheep and by ponies. There's a possibility that it may be renovated for someone to live here. It's certainly a lovely building. I imagine it's very dilapidated inside. And when the people here stopped their warrening, they just left. As you can see, there's nothing really around for miles, so it was a very remote place to live.
What were the warren? Were they in the medieval times or?
Well, it started really, yes, in the early medieval. We know that rabbits, or for a long time we've thought that rabbits were brought over by the Normans in the 11th century. So yes, it would have been any time since then. This actual building is maybe 16th century.
Any Romans that used to have this building, or no? Is it just?
There isn't much evidence of Roman activity around here. No, again, it's so often with the Moors. But it would have been used by Iron Age man, because we've got a river down there. Whenever there were rivers, there would have been farmsteads.
What about the cavemen? Did they used to use it or no?
The cave, well, certainly ancient man would have. In terms of cavemen, there aren't any caves in this immediate area. But it's quite possible that they could have been living here, and then the medieval people came along and took hold of the site and built upon it.
Okay, Lee, where's our next one we're off to then?
Well, I think what we'll do now is go hunting for pillow mounds where the actual rabbits were kept.
Okay then, let's go.
Presumably they kept 2 or 3 in each. It's probably best if we go around that way. Oh, he galloped up there.
They don't like us that much, do they?
No, they're frightened easily, don't they, bro? Just me jumping down off that rock there, frighten the life out of that one.
I said I would give them a piss around you, but you get me on camera. You would.
Where have you been, Chris?
Somewhere.
Where?
To the bathroom.
Your bathroom house, is it?
Yes.
Saw a man about a dog.
Saw a man about a dog. Hey Lee, do you think any tarantulas live on Dartmoor?
No, big spiders, but not furry tarantulas.
Where's that?
Where?
Why is that?
Oh, why? I think they like hot countries.
People said they live on Dartmoor.
Who's that?
Tarantulas.
Live on Dartmoor?
Yeah.
Big spiders still. I wouldn't want to find one in my trousers.
Spooky Lee said he wouldn't like to find one in his trousers.
Spider, that is.
Lee, do you get magic mushrooms on Dartmoor?
Magic mushrooms, yes, you do. You certainly. I don't think it's a good idea for us to be trying any because it's quite insane as it is. I think. Is this very passable?
Do not swim.
Why aren't we crossing over, Lee?
Well, there was a possibility of an attempt, but I don't think we entirely fancy this, especially when we're given the sign over there.
Say that again.
I said the water goes into Plymouth by Narrow Bridge.
Ah.
So Lee, tell us, how come we can't get up there and see the man then?
Well, unfortunately we can't get across the river really without jeopardising our socks, if not our lives. In the distance there you will see a pillow mound, that little cigar-shaped long hump. And the pillow mounds are where the rabbits used to be kept, and they were constructed so that they'd be nice and dry for the animals and that they would have fairly nice living conditions. And ultimately, as well as that, it was a place for trapping them and therefore being able to catch and kill.
Nowadays, do you think rabbits still go in there?
They probably do use some of them, yes. They would have been blocked up at the time, but yes, for the rabbits that are around here, they will still try to make the best of what's available.
Okay, thank you, Lee. Where are we off to now?
Well, we're now off to somewhere very different, although again it involves lots of grass. We're now off to the old site of RAF Harrowbeer.
Should we go there then, Lee?
Yes, let's go.
After you.
Wow, that's in fairly good condition, doesn't it?
Historic Dartmoor.
What's it like to get dumped, Chris?
Don't know. Don't feel anything. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You just got dumped by someone. You said she doesn't think your boyfriend is here. What does that mean?
I don't know.
She doesn't feel that you're her boyfriend. What's talking about this?
I'm lost. I'm asking you. I'm asking the viewers.
Feel like you got some tears in your eyes.
No, I'm happy. She is weird though. That is weird though, isn't it? Like, come on
It's
then.
pretty good, really, isn't it?
Well, when they said she had, I can't say it on here because I'll get sued, but I don't want Lee getting sued. Oh. You nice, aren't you two, for someone who's to support to me, like, you don't act like it.
Crazy woman, I think.
What did you say to her, Chris?
I said, okay, finish for me then, but it's up to you.
What are you saying to her now?
What do you want me to say to her?
Yeah, Chris?
No, because you keep recording it now.
I want to see the breakup of your relationship.
Yeah, it's never nice to see beauty end, is it?
See a tear there, Lee.
Right, should we start then?
Why not?
So Lee, why are we here then today?
Well, we're on the site of the old RAF Harrowbeer, which was built in 1941 to protect Plymouth from the German Luftwaffe.
So why isn't it called RAF Yelverton then?
It's a very good question. Yes, we're in the village of Yelverton. It wasn't called RAF Yelverton because there's an RAF Yeovilton in Somerset, and so they've taken a different name so that there wouldn't be any confusion. As you'd imagine, if there was any confusion, it could have been catastrophic.
Is there any famous land here, or no, back in the times in BC and that?
Yes, there were two famous landings. One by the 33rd President of the US, Truman, who had to land because of bad weather. He was supposed to be landing in Cornwall at St Morgan, but they had to land here. And also, you may well have heard of Glenn Miller.
Glenn Miller,
Of the orchestra.
Yeah, orchestra, yeah.
Yes, and again, he came here to entertain the troops. And I imagine he got a pretty good reception. At the moment, we're actually standing in an old bunker. But if you look over there, you will see that it's now mostly flat recreation ground.
Yeah, can you ask why they got rid of this RAF bunker then?
Well, after the war, all the buildings were torn down simply because they didn't need them. For many years, it was looking as if it might be made into a civil airport. But as the years went by, it became more and more overgrown. And in 1951, the Dartmoor National Park was set up, and this became part of it. And of course, therefore, nothing could be built on it.
Was there any like Romans or wizards or anyone back in the medieval times had this place or no?
This was just farmland, so there were a couple of farmsteads around here. But no, we don't have much evidence of anything medieval or pre-medieval.
Okay.
Shall we take a little walk around the site?
Yeah, I think we should.
What's happening now, Chris?
Oh, it's texting her. It says you never bother texting me. So because I've got a lot of family problems.
So you feel neglected?
Well, that's what she feels like, yeah.
You've only been going out there one day.
I know. Oh, I don't know. Do you mind? That's not filmed.
What did you say?
Whatever.
What did you say to her? You feel neglected or something?
No, all I said to her is because I got a lot of family problems and that's why I'm busy. Fuck off now. Texting her back, she's using my credit up.
He's Spooky Lee.
At one point there were over 2,000 people, men and women, stationed here at RAF Arabia.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how it changed life in Yelverton at the time. Of course now it's used for recreation purposes, and in the recent snowfall all of this was awash with families building snowmen, having snowball fights. So it's quite interesting how its use has changed over the years. In order to really understand how much Yelverton was shaped by this stationing, it's necessary to go into the town centre itself.
Should we go there now?
Yes, let's go off this way.
What's the message?
No, I had a missed call off 07946.
Who's that there?
Dunno.
Could be a bit tricky, couldn't it?
Could be his other boyfriend.
You got other boyfriends?
Probably.
How many boyfriends has she got?
I don't know. So I'll just text her to use this. So Lee, tell me what effects it had on the whole village then.
Oh, enormous effects, really. Not only did the roads have to be realigned, which sent the main road going up that way, up towards Tavistock, but also you'll see behind me the Methodist church there doesn't have a steeple. That had to be taken off because the aircraft that were coming in were in danger of hitting it. Likewise, the church over there had to have a light put on the top because in 1943 a plane hit the top and crashed into the Meavy Valley beyond, killing its pilot. Also, you'll notice here that generally all these shops are on one level. Again, similar to with the church steeple there, the top story had to be removed because of the planes coming in. Only very recently do we have a two-story building there that's brand new. So yes, that combined with the extra people and the many pilots and admin staff from all nationalities being here, it had a massive impact on Yelverton.
Okay Lee, where are we off to now then?
Well, for the final instalment for this week, it's going to be The Way of the Dead.
Lead us there.
Say what your message was you just sent?
I just said, is it over or what? Need to know, don't you viewers, is it over? So you get sexy girls, come with a hero, he'll teach you a good time. He's just being.
She dumped you after one day, Chris.
Well, she asked me out, I didn't ask her out.
One day though.
But it doesn't matter if it's one day or if it's a couple of hours. It could have been a couple of hours she could have asked me out and then thought, wait mate, I don't want you.
Why?
It's only because she said you don't text me every day. Text you, what? Right, come on, let's get on with Lee's thingy. John's filming this.
I'm not filming anything, Chris. I'm just looking at my menus on my camera.
John, when has a camera ever got menus?
I had the prawn cocktail to start.
What's the text say, Chris?
Well, it seems like what you want, Chris. You don't give.
Yeah.
You don't get with someone then f them off, do you? It's very peaceful as well when you're along here as well.
It is, yeah, get off.
So Lee, can you tell us where we are now?
This is the Lick Way, also known as the Way of the Dead.
Why is it called the Lick Way then, Lee?
Well, in the 13th century, all this land here came under the parish of Lidford, and it was decreed that all these local farmsteads, these ancient tenements, had to walk all the way from here to Lidford to bury their dead.
Why was the dead buried in Lidford before then?
Because the regional authorities said that they couldn't use other places, they would have to go to their parish church. Now, of course, the walk is quite a few miles up that way, and it could be 12 or it could even be 17 miles distance.
Why was it 17 miles for?
If there was bad weather, some of the rivers would swell up, and so they would have to take detours which could add another 5 miles onto the journey. These days the Lick Way is undertaken by people who are either adventurous and or hoping to make money for charity.
So why is the gate all like locked up this way and all like that? Why is it only like a small bit here? Why is it?
Well, there are slightly different routes you can take at the beginning, but the important thing is that you leave from Belliver Forest and you head in this direction all those miles up to Lidford.
So what was it used in medieval times, this place as well, before the dead, or was it, you know, the wizards, witches, you know, all them kind of people? Did they use it before then or no?
Yes, well that would have been used in medieval times, definitely. Yes, and something like this with the deathly connotations, it would have been used by all sorts of people, maybe those practicing in the occult, such as witches.
Did any Romans use it? You know, cavemen, did they use it or no?
No, they wouldn't have used this particular route, but I'm sure they would have followed various rivers around here to get where they wanted to go.
Okay, Anthony, is that it now, or are we off to somewhere else?
Well, yes, that's it for this edition. But we'll see you next time. We're off now to seek a little spiritual company of our own. Because, I don't know about you, but I fancy a drink. See you next time.